look, as we transition to the East, same sort of thing, right? You look at the Miami Heat and the 76ers, they're going to be in that first play-in game. And everybody is saying, oh my God, it's so unfair. Boston would have to play one of these teams. New York would have to play one of these teams. If I'm Boston or New York, to a much greater degree, I'm like, none of these two teams should scare me. When did Philadelphia, who's never made a conference final in this era, who hasn't made a conference final since 2001, been a perpetual sort of playoff boogeyman? We've seen all the movies. And I know Joel Embiid is back and he's averaging like 39 and 5 since his return. And he's a better basketball player even than last year when he was the MVP. But the playoff movies are the playoff movies. And the officiating has changed from when he last actually played. Like, I don't see Miami or Philly. I mean, maybe I see Miami a little bit because I feel like they can get there, but I don't know if I trust it this year. But Philly, I wouldn't be afraid of them if I'm what New York and Boston believes themselves to be. They shouldn't be afraid of either one of these teams.
Now, I wouldn't be worried about Philly. I think it's Alan Hyde who makes the point. So let me get this straight. You're expecting Joel Embiid to do on one leg what he couldn't do on two. All right, like that's a choice if that's the way you want to go about it. And yeah, no, I don't. Philadelphia, I would not worry about. I wouldn't want to play Miami under any circumstances.
That's true. That's true.
And I agree with you. They look vulnerable. They look like all those things that they looked like last year. All those things that they looked like last year. The question is, and this is what I would worry about with Miami is, Jimmy early is what you don't want no problems with. I don't know how much longer at his age he can just dial it up in that way when the postseason comes around. But I think he can give you a round. He might even be able to give you two. You probably have the best coach in the conference. They get out there playing that old zone. I mean, I ain't about it, but it seems to be effective, right? I could get not wanting to play them. But Boston, if you are beating your opponents by an average of 11 points a game, there should be no concern about anything whatsoever. I'm concerned about them, but there still should be no concern whatsoever for the team that's outscoring people by 11 points a game. They rolled out there with a bunch of dudes that they picked up from the train station in that last game, and they beat the brakes off of who that was. Who were they playing in that game?
Who did Boston play? I don't know. That was one of the games I wasn't paying attention to because there was too much other shit to pay attention to.
They hammered them.
They're a regular season juggernaut. Because they take a lot of threes, they make a lot of threes, and they can create a lot of mismatches on both ends. Yeah, the Hawks are playing the Bulls. Hey, if y'all came here for that, y'all came here for the wrong things today, dog. This is just not it. But you bring up the point about Jimmy, and Jimmy will be 35, I believe, in September. I think he was born in 89, so he'll be 35. So he's at 34. So he's kind of right at like the tail end and having a lot of miles and everything else. But the NBA we grew up watching, Bo, where, New York lost to Miami last year. We should get them back. Boston lost to Miami last year. We should get them back. Teams would relish these opportunities, and now you have people talking about they should be suckers. And say, man, I hope we get the Bulls or the Hawks. It would be unfair we had to play the Miami Heat. What happened? When we talk about this being a soft generation, that's the shit I'm talking about, Bo.
Now, I do every time somebody tells me about people making these moves and trying to maneuver their way into the matchup they want, that is fear, man. Like, I just get it. You go out there and you beat them, right? Like that. Maybe that's just me. And anytime somebody talks about how smart it is and everything else, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that this is not a game that's won by smart people. I'm not saying the dumb people win out. I'm just saying it's won out by winners, right? Winners are the ones that go out here and then get it done. Then Cleveland just pulled this. And it's interesting. Cleveland's catching some hell for this. Where they lost this last game. It seemed to be that they were maneuvering themselves into a matchup that they wanted. And that did not seem to go over well, which is interesting because people are normally out here on the internet like justifying and rationalizing this. It does not seem to be going that way for the Cavs.
Well, I think part of it is on the other side of that is the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? Like on the other side of that is the Milwaukee Bucks. Like they were in this weird position where they could have finished anywhere from 2 to 5. Like I don't ever remember a day where that could have actually happened. And I know we're going to get into like some of the other playoff series like later in the week. But Bo, the 2 playoff series we got set now in the West, Phoenix and Minnesota, and the Clippers and Dallas. Baby, you better get hip to whatever season of Charmed we about to be watching.